last class, and today uh, I want to talk about the application of hydrostatic equation. Now this is something which we are going to use. Hydrostatic equation, this is something which would have an application, and we would see how this can be used for real systems. So just imagine that you have a three-dimensional system, and this is my coordinate axis x, y and z. And since we are studying stationary fluid, so let's say I take a stationary fluid system, and then in this system I am taking one particular element of this system. Now this element, let me see again now. Now this system, in this fluid system I have taken a surface which has an area normal of n, it has an area ds, and then the stresses acting on it would be sigma nx, sigma ny, sigma nz. Stress was acting on it at any particular point, and the components of that stress are sigma nx, sigma ny, sigma nz. So this is how I am defining my system. So this is the system which we are going to talk about. Now, equilibrium, if I would look at the equilibrium equation, this is something which you would remember from your mechanics course. So if I would say that this fluid is in stationary condition, it is in equilibrium. So equilibrium requires that summation of all forces would be zero. Summation of all forces would be zero. Now we are talking about a point, that's why, and I showed this earlier, that there is not going to be any moment acting on it in the limit that del S tends to zero. So it is only forces acting on it. So summation of all forces would be zero. Now this F, the complete force, which I am saying summation of all forces, it consists of two parts. One is the body force, the other is the surface force. So it means that I can write that summation of all surface forces is zero and summation of all body forces is zero. That's what I am going to write. If you would remember from our last class yesterday, then all of these surface forces can be written as sigma nxi plus sigma nyj plus sigma nzk, and to make it force I need to multiply it with the area. So this is my surface force, and then I can write my body force. Now there are a few points to see here. Look at this sign over here. So instead of writing just like that, instead of this symbol, I have used this symbol with circle here. Can anyone tell me what is the difference between these two? जी, कोई भी बताना चाहेंगे? क्या लगता है ये जो ये सर्कल बनाया है इससे क्या सिग्निफाई होता है? Yes, perfect. Exactly. तो यहाँ पे ये दिखाना चाहा है कि ये क्लोज्ड सरफेस है, ये कोई ओपन सरफेस नहीं है. यानी ds जो है, जिस पे मैं इंटीग्रेशन करने जा रहा हूँ, ये क्लोज्ड है, क्लोज्ड सरफेस की बात हो रही है. तो कोई भी ऐसा सरफेस नहीं लिया जाएगा, बल्कि क्लोज्ड सरफेस लिया जाएगा. कोई भी शेप हो सकता है, क्लोज्ड सरफेस होगा। दूसरी बात, प्लेन सरफेस इस तरीके का लिया जाएगा, ऐसा सरफेस नहीं लिया जाएगा। ये मतलब है इस पूरी बात का। तो इस तरीके के सरफेसेस हैं। और लास्ट टाइम पे मैंने कहा था कि आई कैन यूज ट्रिपल इंटीग्रल साइन और जस्ट सिंपल वन इंटीग्रल साइन एंड देन आई कुड राइट वॉल्यूम बिलो. So any of these would do the trick. I mean, they are all okay. Now, further, I know from before that sigma and x equals to minus LP. Let me x. Sigma nx is minus LP, where L, M, N are direction cosines. Sigma ny is minus MP, and this is small p. So you already know about it, why this negative sign is there, because we found out that stress at a point, the direction of pressure is always 180 degree to the area norm. It's compressive in nature. And sigma and z is going to be minus n p. If I would put this up there, then I can write this as minus p li plus nj plus nk ds. By the way, I would recommend, ये इस तरीके से जो हम यहाँ पे लिख रहे हैं, ये कहानी सुनने में भी अच्छी लगेगी और ऐसे देखने में भी ठीक ठाक लगेगा, लेकिन अगर आप इस वक्त में क्लास में हमारे साथ में ही अगर आप खुद से कॉपी पेन लेके खुद से नोट्स नहीं बनाएंगे तो क्लास खत्म होते ही आप भूल जाएंगे कि क्या किया गया और बिल्कुल कुछ भी याद नहीं रहेगा. So I would really recommend that along with me you make these notes, and there is even a possibility that since I am writing it, it's a possibility that sometimes I miss a sign and I can make a typographical error. Then I would really suggest that you check that from the book and let me know if I am wrong at any place. So this can be written as volume integral rho b, where b is the body force intensity, like this. Okay, now this can be further written as a surface integral for p, and this li plus mj plus nk is nothing but my vector, which is telling me the direction. So this equation 1 which I have written, this is actually the integral form of hydrostatic equation. This is the integral form of hydrostatic equation. Now let's say I want to find the differential form of hydrostatic equation. From this integral equation, equation 1, I want to change it into differential equation, because most of the time differential equations are easy to work with. Okay. Equation 1, which is an integral equation, can be transformed to differential equation. For that, what I need to do? I hope you have already read this and studied this. Consider the Gauss theorem. Have you studied the Gauss theorem before? I don't know, in your mathematics in first year or maybe up till now in second year, गॉस थ्योरम आप लोगों ने पहले पढ़ रखी है क्या? Anyone? अच्छा, गॉस थ्योरम था. So let us see if this is what you have already seen. आप कर क्या रहे हैं यहाँ पे? डबल इंटीग्रल को, ये फाई कोई भी एक स्केलर है, मैं ट्रिपल इंटीग्रल में चेंज कर रहा हूं. सरफेस से, अगर मैं फिजिकल टर्म्स में बात करता हूं, तो मैं सरफेस से वॉल्यूम की तरफ जा रहा हूं. ठीक है, ये मेरी गॉस थ्योरम है. अगर आप इक्वेशन 1 के अंदर देखेंगे, तो इक्वेशन अंदर 1 के अंदर में व्हाट आई हैव इज अ सरफेस इंटीग्रल एंड अ वॉल्यूम इंटीग्रल. To change them into a differential form, I need to bring both these terms in in same format, if I can say that. So I am using Gauss theorem, and using Gauss theorem, what I am doing is that this scalar phi, I was integrating it over a surface, and using Gauss theorem, I changed it into gradient of phi. Gradient, this thing, this del is known as gradient, also called, this sign is also called as grad. It tells you the gradient, and by the way, this is a vector. So if I use this, then I can write my equation 1, which I have shown you above, the integral form of hydrostatic equation, into P and ds. This is the term which I am going to change into del P, which means gradient of P. This is what I have done. And what I am going to do is I would put this here, and if I do that, I would get something like this. The above integral form can be written as now. Since this equation, let me call it 2, equation 2, since this equation holds for any arbitrary choice of volume, this is good for any dV. Yes. No, it's recording. So equation 2, this one holds for any arbitrary choice of volume. So I can say that this gradient of P plus rho B is 0. This is the equation which I was coming to, differential equation. And this above equation is a partial differential equation. I hope you have already studied some PDEs. Have you already done that? या अभी तक खाली ordinary differential equation पढ़ाई गई है? पार्शियल भी पढ़ा दी गई है। तो ये जो इक्वेशन 3 है ये पार्शियल डिफरेंशियल इक्वेशन है। तो हमने किया क्या जी, any queries? What P is representing here? I hope you are following from our next class. P is the pressure. अगर आपने लास्ट क्लास में देखा होगा तो स्ट्रेस एट अ पॉइंट जो हमने कहा था, लास्ट क्लास हमने खत्म ही इस जगह पे की थी कि ये P जो है ये प्रेशर एट अ पॉइंट है। जो हमने अपना फ्लूइड एलिमेंट लिया, किसी पॉइंट को, फ्लूइड पार्टिकल को जो हमने लिया था, फिर एक सरफेस उस पर चूज किया था, फिर हमने उस पर स्ट्रेस निकाला था और फाइनली लास्ट क्लास के अंदर में जो हमारा लेक्चर 4 था वहाँ पे हमने ये कंक्लूजन दिया था कि ये P जो है वो स्ट्रेस एट अ पॉइंट प्रेशर ऑफ द फ्लूइड है, जो वो पॉइंट और फ्लूइड पार्टिकल फील करेगा। और नेगेटिव का साइन इसलिए आया था क्योंकि इसका डायरेक्शन अपोजिट होगा सरफेस नॉर्मल के। एंड नाउ वी हैव arrived at equation number 3, which is a partial differential equation. It's a PDE. Now, so this is the mathematical equation which we arrived at. Now let us see what are the different remarks which can be made. What is the significance of this equation? What we can get out of this equation? If you would see and observe, then equation 3 is expressed independent of any particular choice of coordinate system. Okay, which means that the form of equation 3 in our case is same in Cartesian, cylindrical or spherical coordinate system. Equation 3 would remain same. It doesn't matter आप XYZ में पढ़ रहे हैं या आप R theta Z में पढ़ रहे हैं cylindrical, या R theta phi में आप कोई प्रॉब्लम को एनालाइज करना चाहते हैं which is spherical, the form of equation 3 would remain same. So what will change if I'm using these different coordinate system? Only the gradient, which means del, and the body force needs to be expressed in terms of the appropriate coordinate system. Now what do I mean by that? So let's say if I'm studying in Cartesian system, in XYZ system, then this gradient would be I del by del x plus j del by del y plus k del by del z, where I, j, k are the unit vectors in the direction of x, y and z. And if I'm studying a cylindrical coordinate system, then it would be, let's say, epsilon r del by del r plus epsilon theta del by r del theta plus epsilon z del by del z. So it means that the only thing which I need to learn or to know to formulate my problem in different coordinate system would be this del. Okay, I can use equation 3. Just I need to know what kind of coordinate system I am using. Based on that, according to that, what would be my del and what would be my B, which is body force intensity. These are the two things which I need to know. Now the second point which we can uh, elaborate and which we can get from this differential form of equation is the equation governs variation of pressure in stationary fluids. Its solution, if you would find the solution of that partial differential equation, you already know from your mathematics class how to find solution of that kind of partial differential equation. Its solution yields the pressure distribution in the space occupied by the stationary fluid. So that's the second point. Okay, now what do we mean by that and what exactly it's telling us? Another way in which I can say that is the orientation of an isobaric surface by the way, what do you understand by an isobaric surface? क्या लगता है isobaric surface का क्या मतलब होगा? कांस्टेंट प्रेशर जहां पे हो, यानी वो सरफेस जहां पे कांस्टेंट प्रेशर हो। और मेरे ख्याल में अभी तक में आपको ये अंदाजा हो गया होगा that whenever I am talking about a pressure, it's not in some arbitrary sense, and maybe from mechanics course you would have also got that there are few things which you can't leave. If you are studying mechanics, you can't study mechanics without having a proper coordinate system. हाँ, ये डिपेंड करेगा प्रॉब्लम क्या है। प्रॉब्लम ऐसी है जिसमें कि मुझको एक्स वाई जी लेना है, आर थीटा जी लेना है, आर थीटा फाई लेना है, एक अलग बात है। लेकिन विदाउट अ कोऑर्डिनेट सिस्टम देयर इज नो सेंस ऑफ मैकेनिक्स। ओके, यू ऑलवेज नीड टू हैव दैट। सेकंड पॉइंट, it is always easier to study mechanics in terms of vectors. So that's why this field is also known as vector mechanics. इसीलिए vector mechanics बोला जाता है इसको। तो एक तो ये अंदाजा करना जरूरी है। प्रेशर के बारे में जब हम बात करते हैं तो प्रेशर ऑल्दो स्केलर क्वांटिटी है, इतना तो हमको मालूम है, लेकिन वी आर ऑलवेज टॉकिंग अबाउट प्रेशर एट अ पॉइंट। लेकिन इस प्रेशर से हम बाद में क्या कर रहे होते हैं, हम स्ट्रेस एट अ पॉइंट के बारे में बात करते हैं। और स्ट्रेस अपने अंदर में एक